Listen, Coty, as we expected, some conference championships didn't disappoint us at all. But I want to begin with the biggest game of championship weekend. Alabama versus the Georgia Bulldogs. And Coty, I'm gonna let you take this thing off, man, because listen, this game was dope. I had a chance to actually go to this game and watch it live. We did Countdown to College Game Day. Game Day was there as well. Got to see the Zach Brown band perform live. So I'm up there. I know I'm a chicken fried cold on a Friday night. Yeah, I'm up there singing and everything, Coty. So I'll let you start this one off so I can calm myself down a little bit.
Man, it was an amazing game. It didn't disappoint. I think some people were surprised, but one thing I would say is to be as nice as possible. Some teams shine under the light and some look funny under the light. Like Nick Saban spoke on it. I think he referred to it as rat poison that the media had put out leading up to that game. And boy, did them men, because them was grown men out there at Alabama Saturday afternoon in Atlanta, Georgia. And I really want to touch on the offensive line because that's where my concern was. I know it was your concern.
Yep.
And I know I had been talking bad about them the last couple of weeks because they was out there folding like lawn chairs. But when I tell you, you mentioned either last week or the week before, they needed to have a coming to Jesus moment. They had that moment at some point before that game because they didn't give up a sack all game to hands down the most dominant front seven in all of college football all year. As a collective whole, maybe not one specific individual, but as a collective whole, Georgia's front seven has been the most dominant defense across the country. Bryce Young, what can I say about him that hasn't been said? I think he's the best player in the country. Anybody who disagrees with that, I would love to hear their argument.
We don't even want to hear their argument, Coty. Yeah. If they disagree with that, we don't even want to hear their argument.
The young man is amazing, bro. He's one of those guys, how they say he has the it factor. He has the it factor with a capital I and a capital T, exclamation. Like, he is the real damn deal. He has every single thing you could want as a quarterback. He's poised, composed. He can throw on the run. He can get guys lined up. He can escape pressure and make plays. He's one of those guys that makes everybody around him better. And the biggest thing that stood out to me about Alabama's offense, outside of the offensive line, they had, if I'm not mistaken, they had 6 scoring drives in the game. 5 of those went for 75 plus yards. And the 6th drive went for 68 yards. So that means all day long, they was driving up and down the field on that haunted defense that Georgia has put on everybody all year. Yeah. And we talked about it a couple weeks ago when we was mentioning Ohio State, that if you could protect your quarterback against Georgia's defense, you could get busy on that secondary. And boy, did Jameson Williams put on a show. Oh, my Lord. And they ain't even have Michi. Knock on wood, I haven't followed up with what's going on with him. What's his injury?
ACL, so he out.
So he's out.
He hurt. He got hurt in the game.
Exactly. Exactly.
And then for a good portion of it, they didn't have him, which was
I couldn't tell.
Oh, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's.
So that's unfortunate for that young man that he had that injury, because, you know, us playing football and knowing the history of that's a tough injury to come back from. But man, Alabama's special, man. I can only imagine the numbers they had to put up if he would have finished the game.
And it's crazy though, Coty, because I said this the other day, and I said what I said. And I told people I don't want to hear it. Bryce Young is the best quarterback Nick Saban has ever had.
That was a debate. Somebody disagreed with that?
Well, no, I'm not saying anybody disagreed. I'm just saying, in general, because when you look at Mac Jones is a tremendous quarterback. Did great at Alabama's doing a great job right now, but I don't think he has all the intangibles
Right.
that Bryce Young
What do you
has.
throw? 12 passes the other night?
He only threw two.
Two.
2 or 3, I believe.
Two,
Yeah,
3. It was one a game. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Bill Belichick, boy, he's something else. But like for Bryce Young to throw for 421 yards, 3 touchdowns,
Clinic.
didn't have 40 yards rushing, 1 touchdown, not get sacked. And you mentioned it. Their offensive line was big because against Auburn, he got sacked 7 times. Against LSU, he got sacked 4 times. Against Arkansas, he got sacked 4 times. Against Texas A&M, he got sacked 4 times, right? And before that game, the SEC championship game, right? He was 10th in the country in being sacked. Top 10. So that's why I tell people where there's a debate about Bryce Young, no, it's not, because he's not sitting back there in the pocket with all day long to throw the football. Right. It may have been that in the SEC championship game, but he has been under duress this entire season. And it's multiple times I'm watching film and he's got a blitzer coming right down the middle of his chest. He's standing there, boom, getting drilled, but he's delivering the football on point, right? So it's just little things like that. And I love his quick twitchiness, the way he escapes the pocket, but he doesn't escape it all the time. Well, majority of the time to try to run, his eyes are still downfield looking for a completion. And if he has to run, then he runs. So he's not your traditional dual threat quarterback where you're going to be like, okay, he's trying to run whenever he gets outside the pocket. No, he's still trying to complete the football downfield, but his demeanor, his cool, calm, and collected demeanor, man. He don't let the highs get too high. He don't let the lows get too low. And that Jameson Williams. And I tell people, and I tell you, Bama should have came into the game doubling Jameson Williams, because when he went out against Auburn, Georgia should have doubled Jameson Williams, because when he went out in the game for the targeting call against Auburn, the offense kind of struggled.
You seen the difference?
Yes. And I tell you, keep playing that game. Alabama had 1st and 20 backed up. They had just got a holding penalty, 1st and 20, right? And I'm trying to remember what the coverage was. I was sitting beside Thomas Davis. It was John.
I know he was hot.
John Mechie was lined up in the slot against, I think, one of their safeties. And I was hitting TD. I was like, look. They completed a slot fade for a first down on 1st and 20, backed up. You posted with your defense, you supposed to say, okay, they're backed up 1st and 20. We're going to get this football back at midfield, if not in Alabama territory. No, they figured out a way. And the entire game, man, I thought Bryce Young, the receivers, the tight ends, the offensive line, the running backs, blitz pickup. And everybody's like, why don't Georgia keep sitting the blitz? They were sitting the blitz. Alabama was picking the blitz up. They did a great job of picking it up. The coaching staff did a great job of blitz pickup the entire week leading up to the game. They did a great job of that because they knew it was coming. They knew Kirby was going to blitz. Kirby blitzed the hell out of them in the game the previous year. But that Bama defense, held that Georgia offense 3 for 12 on 3rd downs. They got 2 turnovers. They got a pick 6. And Georgia offensively, and Stetson Bennett. I love Stetson Bennett. I love the mailman, but the mailman didn't deliver on that Saturday. The year before, he struggled in that game against Alabama. And I left that game saying, okay, they're not going to be able to win A, B, C, or D with this kind of play at the quarterback position. Now, Stetson Bennett has been good all year, but he hasn't been challenged like he was in the SEC championship game. And when Georgia had to come back, he couldn't do it with his arm. He almost threw a pick 6 early in the game that a lot of people forgetting about. Hit the Alabama safety right in the hands, and he should have walked in the end zone.
Yeah. So,
and I know Kirby came out and said, I don't think my defense put Stetson Bennett in a good position. But hey, besides that, what happened? You had an opportunity to make a quarterback change, and you didn't make it. Because see, Nick Saban made that quarterback change in the national championship game from Hurts to Tua. And then in another SEC championship game, Hurts came in and balled out. So why is Nick Saban making these moves at the most crucial times in football games, but you aren't making these same moves? And I think going forward, when you look at Georgia college football playoffs, for them to win a national championship, JT Daniels has to be their quarterback. Because he has to be, because you run up in a team like Michigan. I think Michigan is one of the most complete football teams in college football. They're both physical. They both physical at the point of attack, right? But if it comes to a pass game, Michigan has the edge to me.
Right.
Because of their quarterback,
Right.
McNamara.
Right.
He has the edge to me. So I don't see how Georgia's going to win the national championship with Stetson Bennett being their quarterback.
Georgia looked like a team, and we touched on this last week leading up to the game. Georgia looked like a team that hadn't been in a dogfight since week 1 against Clemson.
Yep.
Alabama's schedule dogfights that they
and
had.
You said this. You said it last week. You said it last week. You said them boys had been in dogfights week in and week out against rival games. You said it.
And it showed. And for some reason or another, and you know, I've watched Alabama a lot the last couple years because they've been facing Clemson, ironically, in a lot of these situations in the playoffs. But for some reason or another, Nick Saban puts a different battery in his guys' back when those lights come on.
Yep.
For as good as they are in the regular season, Alabama turns into a different team when it's championship time. I don't know what he's saying in those meetings, but they just turn into a different team as individuals and collectively as a whole. And I want to ask you one question before we go to the next topic. Jameson Williams, I love his game. As a former NFL college receiver, what is it about him that makes him so special?
Well, I say number one, his big playability, right?
He's electric, bro.
He's explosive. He's fast. He runs routes, and I think the fact that his attitude, he knows he's the shit.
Can't nobody guard him.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
he knows can't nobody guard him.
And you gotta have that demeanor, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he know nobody's fucking with him. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's the way
Georgia's sideline.
Yeah.
The whole day. Like, even when they were losing, he was talking shit. When it was 10-0.
Coty, let me tell you what I love about him though. Somebody asked him after the game about special teams. He said he asked to be on special teams. So when they got a punt, that's why he got the targeting call against Auburn.
He's the gunner.
Yes. He asked to be. He said, I just feel like I need to be on the field on 4th downs.
There's not too many receivers. There's not too many receivers that have that mindset.
He a dog, bro.
He grew up playing some defense at some point in his life to want to be a gunner as a number 1 receiver. Because how many number 1 receivers you know going out there playing gunner?
Not many at all. But it brings me back, and I'm thinking about this now. Devonta Smith won the Heisman Trophy last year. I remember seeing Devonta Smith doing some gunner. I remember seeing him doing some punt returns, and Jameson Williams does some returns as well. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just that mindset at Bama, right? That mindset. And even though he may have asked, but it's that mindset like, okay, nobody's above anything at the University of Alabama. You know what I mean? The common goal is to win. And bro, I just love his attitude, man. I love the way he's excited when not when he make plays, but when everybody makes plays on his football team. I watched him on the sideline being rowdy, being excited, being energized. And I love those type of players, man. Like I love that because yes, this game is emotional. You grind it every week in practice. You grind it since you was a kid to get the moments like that. Show them emotions. Let them emotions be shown. Let everyone in the country see it. So I like, and he had I think Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson, if I'm not mistaken, come to the game. That he said he asked them, did they want to come to the game? And so they came and watched him and checked him out. So that was big, man.
That's dope. That's dope. But he's special, man. He looked like he out there joysticking around, man. And I don't know who the receivers coach is at Alabama, but shout out to him because he's NFL right now.
Oh, yeah.
And we already see the products they have in the NFL right now. But the way he prepares those young men, second to none.